10 a.m., 25 degrees Fahrenheit. I thank you for being here. I love you all. God bless and welcome. Okay, good morning, or good evening, or whatever. What are we gonna talk about? Oh, nothing. I was looking at the North Pole, and it looks like we have this new feature. A little ball. A little ball placed in the center. I don't remember this ball. Here's modern time. 2008. It really didn't used to be there. 2001 and 1979. Okay, it used to look like 1979 just a couple years ago. And of course it used to look like this in 1606. Not bad. Really lining up with their new ball, their new digital feature. Just covering this up nicely. And what do we see here? There's another one like this that's a little better. Here it is. This one is earlier. The better one is earlier. And that's what we discover in this research. Earlier is better. The further back you go in time, the more amazing. In my last video, we discussed the city of Timgad, Algeria. From the year 100, we are told, 100 AD. And it had features surviving today, over 2,000 years later, we are told, that look better than anything we produce today. Just the ruins, just the streets were better than ours. And anyway, we see the same thing with these Mercator maps getting worse. And what's happening? These maps. I mean, ultimately, this is a map getting worse. And it's presented to us as real, but it's both digital and a photographic compilation. And is there anything more up here? This is an area that is difficult for us to access, difficult to confirm. I mean, really, it's still wild out there. If you want to discover anything, you have to boots on the ground it. Parts of our known nations, I believe, have not been discovered. Canyons, dangerous and difficult to access, exist everywhere. We, of course, on this channel, discuss this nation that has disappeared, the nation of Tartaria, shown on countless old maps. And we even see cities and land on these old maps that no longer exist. I mean, how easy to erase a nation if you have the ability to erase entire land masses. And they do. So you could just erase it and remove it from a historical book. And this is the idea of the book burning in history. It's not just burning books for kicks. It's removing parts of history, editing history. And really, I don't think anybody burnt any book. They just take them to a secret place. That's all. So much has changed. Again, this is from 1595 Mercator. There's an island right here called Friesland, just to the east and to the south of modern-day Iceland and Greenland. So Iceland is totally mapped out, and so is Greenland in 1595. And it's not just Mercator's map. I'm just using this one. This is a repeated theme. This realm up here is shown over and over by different map makers. 4 land masses with a black magnetic rock in the center. Very detailed and very important. This landmass down here, Friesland, no longer exists, and we see cities and castles on it, similar to Iceland, and we even see it depicted up here in the top left corner of his map, Friesland. Again, we can see little castle cities everywhere. Names, very interesting names. Names of the islands off of the coast of the now missing island. Did I say that? The missing island. So the missing island, like I said, would be just around here. Here we can see Iceland, Greenland, totally covered. No rivers. In the map, you could cut across Greenland via river, at least into the interior here. But we don't see this mountain range now. All named Rivers named. What do we see here? No rivers, no names, no anything. So this is a deletion. Let's go to present day. Not much has changed. But we seem to be missing an island here. We seem to be missing a lot of islands. The islands around the island. And could an island just disappear? Again, it was a pretty important one. Put it on his map twice. He only has 4 corners, and he chose to include this one, Friesland, that is now missing. So let's take a pause. There's a million birds on my roof. Probably like 1,000 more realistically. I don't know if you could hear them. They're eating all the dead bugs. They do this every year. Back to our map and the disappearing island. So we have this little disappearing island, but of course we have this big one. Now, of course, we live in such a gaslighting reality, and that's okay. That's predict. We look at the writings of Herodotus, the Greek. We learn of the 5 ages of man and how man starts out glorious. Intelligent, strong, giant, the golden age. And then there's a wipeout, a reset. We move to the silver and bronze and eventually the plastic age that we find ourselves in now. The absolutely disposable age. And again, not me speaking, but the story explains how people get stupider. Many versions of this story. We see it in the ancient texts of India, and the same thing. Super, super advanced people. The further back you go, warring and destroying each other, flying vehicles. I mean, their history is more advanced than our present reality, that's all. And it explains, actually, everything that we research on this channel. Both stories, out of many. And through this research, it seems as if we came from the north, like the opposite of what academia will tell us. I mean, academia will tell us we came from Africa. We evolved and left Africa. Some stayed. And really just delusional, all of it. We've looked at Africa and we see the same advanced architecture that can be found realm-wide. And what this shows us is there was an advanced people not that long ago building in the what we generically call Greco-Roman fashion, columns, domes, spires all over the realm. And this history has been burnt. So what happened? Enough backstory, enough beating around the bush. I mean, here we have these little tastes left over, these little snippets of our history. Could this realm still exist? Yes, and we would have no idea. Nobody has been this close. Nobody has been to Greenland or even these northern parts of Canada. We are not an exploring people, really. I mean, there's a small few who explore. There's a small few that research beyond the accepted paradigm, and it's fun researching. You get so much more. Things that you would never get in school. This would have interested me in school. Just having discussions about it even. So anyway, there's another island here I want to discuss. God, you bush-beating bastard. I know. Nova Zemlya. Here is Nova Zemlya. Sounds like new, maybe land or something. Everything inverted. Should be called Old Land. So Nova Zemlya. Let's have a looketh. And here she is. She doesn't have the same shape as she used to. It used to be like 2 islands, bunch of islands around it, and a hop skipping away from this northern landmass. Some islands here, en route to the pygmy portion of this landmass. It says pygmy habitants. Pygmy is a small person, like a Oompa Loompa. Correct me if I'm wrong. And actually, one of the first things you can see disappear from this map, again, this is the old one. Let's look at the new one. The new one is 1606, like 10 years later. And Nova Zemlya now is showing cities, but has changed its shape. It's no longer the 2 islands that it was made of. And these islands en route to the Pygmy Island have now disappeared, at least many of them. And a great portion of the Pygmy Island has been blurred out. Not removed completely, just edited, perhaps by some controller's decree. So in 1606, we see the beginning of the erasing of this landmass. Again, it's so castled out on the northern Russian side here. We can see RUS. And today, of course, these lands still remain, but are completely cooked out. I mean, just wasteland. Like, no reason to be such a wasteland. Like, no roads. Barely land. I've called it Swiss cheese before. I mean, something Swiss cheese the land. Not even slightly reminiscent the old map here. I mean, here we have charted rivers and cities. That's all. In 1606, and today we have Swiss cheese. All Swiss out here. So what happened here? Let's take a pause. So what is clear is that either the map makers were crazy, even though they're spot on for 99% of everything that we see today, and we can verify that they weren't that crazy. When we look at the general map making skills, most everything shaped pretty accurately, things that remain today. Then we have things disappearing, giant land masses, other land masses changing size, like Nova Zemlya. And fast forward 400 years later, and this is what we get. This is the greatest map in present time, the celebrated official map. So I on this channel, of course, believe what the ancients tell us, that there are cycles and resets, new waves of people over and over. I think that a lot of this destruction is caused by cyclical events way out of our control. But I also believe that man also plays a role in reshaping our history and ultimately our present reality. We are told in 1961, this nation tested the most powerful device ever created, the Tsar Bomba. It was the most powerful of any kind ever constructed and tested. 1961, at the Nova Zemlya site in the country's far north, bomb yielded 50 megatons of TNT. And ultimately, I think that's what we're dealing with. It even says a TNT. This part, the nuke, that's another top. And I don't know if I want to explain. I'll explain. This too is a misconception that when researched changes history. I mean, people will hear me say this and wonder about how legit this device is. I mean, when it comes to nukes, we have to discuss Gaylen Winsor. Galen Winsor. I was amazed he doesn't even have a wiki page. By design. Maybe he does, but it doesn't serve it up. This man's book has been burned. And if you don't actively seek him out, you'll really never hear about him. But he's the man that created all of this supposed science. The first power plant utilizing nuke power. And he lived to be about 85 years old. He was said to have invented the power plant itself. Still controversial today because of this misconception, because nobody has researched this man. He's best known for his stance on the safety of this science. He believed that the fear had been exaggerated to allow a select few to control valuable power resources such as coal and oil. Exactly my thoughts. To prove his point, Winsor famously ingested radioactive uranium on camera during a 1985 educational film titled The Nuclear Scare Scam. 1985. Whistleblower, the inventor of the science. He lived a full and productive life. Man of the church. He enjoyed fishing and hunting. He used to swim in the reactor pool. Again, you just read that he drank the material. He was absolutely obsessed with showing how safe this rock was. He and his peers would walk around with the rocks in their pockets. And the fact that he lived a healthy life till 86 proves this. So I go back to this test. We can discard the nuclear part and just focus on the 50 megatons of TNT. That's, I think, what we're really dealing with here. Just a heavy, essentially dynamite package dropped from the sky. And this is the largest package ever dropped of its kind in 1961. And where did they drop it? Nova Zemlya. Right here. Right around this region where islands disappear, some change shape. It said that they tested the device on the north side of this island, and of course they've blurred out the whole thing, and they already had the ability to erase the land. So why test this out here? Was it to erase the last remaining inhabitants of a people that may have survived the last reset? I don't know, but that's what it seems like. So I think this is a great place to end. I hope you've enjoyed our exploration today. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.